Hello my fellow whale watchers. Many of you have voted on what you would like to see on my channel in the future, and the result was quite overwhelming. Out of 5 options, more than 70% of you have voted that you would most like to see hangar reviews. So let's give it a try in a video format and see how this goes. Today we will look into a Diamond League hangar of a subscriber that I have worked with for quite a while. What you can see here on your screen is the hangar that he had run end of last year. He was unsure on how to advance from this point. His preferred game mode is Pick and Rush and his platform is Steam. First of all, it's quite impressive on how he could survive in Diamond League 3 Pick and Rush with that hangar. Don't forget, Diamond League is probably the league that is most affected by league tankers. So back then, as a first step, I gave him the general advice to try to streamline his hangar a bit. With this, I meant try to group weapons of similar types or range together, which would make his hangar a little bit more effective. As a second step, I advised him to concentrate on a few particular things that are valuable and to not invest too much time and resources into gear that is not useful in long terms. What I liked most about this hangar was the Titan. The Nodens Cyclone Retaliator hybrid is very powerful and will also be useful at a later point in the game. Also, the two Fenriers and the Revenant are a really good basis for going up the leagues. The Butch and the Griffin are outdated, but nonetheless many people forget that they have very high firepower, so behind cover or from some range they can be surprisingly good if they are played well by skilled pilots, of course. So this hangar was from last year. In the meantime, my subscriber has advanced and this is his hangar today. You can see that he has moved up in the league system from Diamond 3 into Diamond 1, almost to expert. Good job. So we are now going to have a bit of a closer look at this hangar and speak about potential improvements for each robot and for the Titan. For this I will briefly go through each build. At the end of this I will make some general remarks on how he could potentially advance in the future. Let's start with the first Fenrir build here. And actually it's a surprisingly good build, even if it looks a bit weird. The Thunder is maxed out at MK3, and many of you know that the Thunder is probably the best tier 1 weapon that you can level up. It's cheap and kicks butt at close range with high damage output. The Pulsars add lockdown and considerable DPS. In general, they are very versatile weapons. Even at a later point in the game, they could still be very useful to be used on other robots. This build is run with an overdrive unit, a heavy armor kit, very solid and good choices, even though they are only at low level, but we will come to that a bit later. The Battleborn module could be replaced by something more streamlined with the Fenrir strengths, because usually it's capable of surviving quite long. But if you run it as a drop-in Beacon Defender and Beacon Rush, that's fine. The pilot is okay for now. Also, as a more general advice, always try to have leveling of a new skill active. So if you plan to use your pilot for longer, promote it when it has reached the promotion cap. The promotion itself you should preferably do during the Legendary Days events when promotions are 10% off. For the Fenrir in particular, it makes sense to look into the Bernadette Wolf pilot. It will make the Fenrir a great tank also in higher leagues. So if you see her, it's definitely worth to get her if you like the Fenrir and if you're planning to use it in the future as well. Let's come to the Revenant. Incinerators, Cold and Ardent Gust. This is not streamlined and also not really in line with the Revenant's strengths, which is at brawling range. But actually this looks a bit like a leftover build. The pilot Rose Lynn is a Typhon pilot, which is also not ideal. In short, I would change that combination to something more useful, so let's come back to this later. The Ivory Ravana, not bad with Tarrants and Freedom Igniter. Tarrants are reasonable weapons and the Igniter adds a bit of punch, so in general it's a reasonable build, and the Ivory Ravana is a very valuable bot to have, especially in combination with the Arnov Poe pilot. It's one of the best non-meta systems to have at the moment, preferably with Havocs. The second Fenrir has Molots and a Hail equipped, so it's used as mid to long range sniper, which can be useful for team deathmatch but not necessarily for pick and rush. Similar to the Revenant, I would advise to streamline it a bit with more useful weapons. The Hail is quite good and the Molo Ts can be good in some circumstances, but in medium terms I would look into something more streamlined with the fan rear. Sonics, acids, or even rust or smoother, why not? The pilot is an Erebus pilot. Also here, a fan rear pilot, preferably Bernadette, would be more useful. Then this Retro Revenant build, and I think it's a great build. Bane and two blazes provide very high DPS. Raphael Petit as legendary pilot adds a bit indirect aiming help for the flamethrowers. Good job, this can carry you very far. A bit of optimization potential. As active module, I would choose a healing module instead of Deathmark. Again, it's all about optimizations that are in line with the robot's strengths. Another small hint, the pilot needs to be promoted so that you can gain experience in another skill. Also, the physical shield expert is not the most useful one for the Revenant. I would consider to roll the dice. If you do that before promotion, it will be a little bit cheaper. Finally, the Nodens, and I think this is also a great build. Two maxed Cyclones, very powerful. Also, the Retaliators are good. The Nodens is already at level 75, very strong. Next, I would look a little bit into modules. This is also very useful because they can be transferred to another Titan at a later point. As you run Cyclones, definitely it's worth looking into a quantum sensor. The Nodens is a support Titan rather than a brawler, so in order to increase its resilience a little bit, the best choice would be Titan anti-control modules that you may get from somewhere at a later point. Let's have a quick look at the drones layout, and here you can also see maybe the biggest improvement potential of this hangar. Using any drone is better than no drones. Even if it's a silver drone with tier 1 microchips, I understand drones are a very complicated topic. It's difficult to understand all the microchips and stuff, but drones are also one of the main reasons why you win battles these days. So try to get the idea over time, and until this point just buy some cheap drones and try to fit some basic microchips on them. So at the end of the video, let's look a bit at the big picture. My subscriber likes to play Beacon Rush, so what I'm missing a little bit here is a fast robot, a beacon capper. This is important on certain maps, especially on large maps where the Revenant is just a bit too slow to catch up. So this is definitely worth looking into. Orochis are the most popular choice, but also others, for example the Blitz or the Shell, work great in this role. Maybe it could replace the level 5 Revenant, that in my opinion is a little bit obsolete. This would also partly solve another issue, which is variety. It's always a bit of a risk to run 2 or more robots of the same kind. I think the 2 Fenriers are okay for now, also because they will not get nerfed in the upcoming rebalance, but just keep that in mind for further hangar development. Other than that, I would just try to level up stuff, starting with higher tier weapons and bringing the bots to MK19, so that they can be fit out with 3 passive modules. What would be a good choice to concentrate on next? Except drones and microchips, of course, I would say look into passive modules. Modules are not only very powerful because of their effects, but they can also be transferred onto other robots. And there are a few general modules that are very powerful that I would recommend to try to get and to develop. The most common modules at the moment are last stand modules and nuclear amplifiers. We will see how hard the upcoming rebalance will affect these, but it cannot hurt to try to get and develop 1 or 2 of those in any case. Other powerful modules to look into, especially for your robots, are balanced units and anti-control modules. In case these are too expensive for now, try to max out some cheap standard modules that costs 3 million per level, and they will always give your robot some sort of permanent bonus. Another reminder, at MK1 level 9, all 3 module slots for a robot will be unlocked, so this is a very important milestone. So this concludes my first video review of a hangar. I hope that you found it a bit helpful. I'm also open to suggestions on how to make this more useful or interesting for you in the future. I could talk more about details, but of course I cannot make a 30-minute long hangar review video simply because nobody will ever watch that. So in case you want to see more of this, just let me know, then I will try to develop this into a small series and look into good ways on how you can request your hangar to be reviewed as well. But of course it's a bit of work, so it only makes sense if enough people are really interested in this. So for now, thanks for listening in again and see you on my channel.